Let's cut to the chase. Why would anyone want to make meat from plants? Well, I'm about to tell you why. But being really upfront, we have to first talk the problems. We cannot build real-world solutions that actually work until we understand the problems, right? So stick with me. Ready? Right, here we go. So, meat from plants. I will tell you how we can turn this into this. Fact, people want to eat more meat. Why? Because it tastes fucking delicious. They enjoy the meaty experience. Fact, the animal system won't be able to satisfy their demand. Why? Because the animal system is not conducive to scaling. Let me expand on that. One key reason the animal system is not conducive to scaling is because animals are inefficient manufacturers of protein. No matter the animal, they are all poor converters of feed to protein. They will always produce a lot less than what they eat, as a lot of that energy goes into all the bodily functions that keep them alive on a daily basis. It's important to look at this as an energy problem. Food is just another form of energy that we consume on this planet, and actually the largest form of energy with the biggest footprint, and animal proteins make up a really large chunk of that food footprint. And just like there are sustainable and non-sustainable forms of other energy, such as oil, coal, and solar, so is the case with food. If we deconstruct the animal meat system to its simplest form, we see that we get energy from the sun, which is captured by plants through photosynthesis. Animals then eat the plants, and we eat the animals. In any energy system across the board, no matter which industry, in any energy system, the closer we get to the source of the energy, the cleaner, more efficient things naturally get. Sun is the fundamental source of energy for this planet. Solar energy is cleaner than fossil fuels because we skip all the middlemen. So how close can we get to the sun in this animal meat chain? Well, we all don't have the ability to photosynthesize yet. So the closest we can get to is to the plants. Plants, after all, are the original solar cells and the original battery packs. They capture, convert, and store the sun's energy into a form we can use. By skipping animals and getting our protein directly from plants, the system inherently becomes much more efficient. This fundamental inefficiency in the animal system is why it is not conducive to scaling. As soon as you start scaling it, it turns into a negative system. Now, what do I mean by a negative system? A negative system takes more inputs than it gives out. It feeds off its environment and starts depleting it. Animal systems are depleting our resources, from growing the vast amounts of food and water it takes to feed billions of animals, to controlling all the waste produced, to all the pharmaceuticals needed to keep them alive in unnatural, intensive environments. It takes a lot. Essentially, animal systems are damaging our fundamental resources of soil, water, and air. It is now the biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, the key polluter of waterways, and the #1 reason for the deforestation of the Amazon. It's a negative system. And a negative system is the worst system to continue to keep scaling out, as it will continue to multiply depletion and damage. That damage, by the way, is not selective. It has translated directly into commercial risks for the meat and dairy industry, from livestock disease outbreaks to food safety risks to public health issues such as antibiotic resistance, to greater regulations on environment and animal welfare, to volatile feed prices, and to scarcity of water. Avian flu outbreaks are now so common in Asia, it's worryingly becoming a norm. The one that hit the US was the worst ever in their history. 60 million birds culled. It cost the industry $3.3 billion, and they are always bracing for another one. And the more avian flu outbreaks, the greater the chances of a human pandemic. It is a very serious global health risk, with organizations like the World Health Organization keeping very close tabs on all notified cases. The Spanish flu pandemic, after all, was an avian flu that jumped to humans and infected 1/3 of the global population. Imagine how fast it would spread today and the devastation it would wreak in today's interconnected world. And we're all aware of the current devastation of the African swine fever epidemic. 350 million pigs killed. That's the population of the United States. 1/4 of the world's pork gone, just like that. And the disease is still not under control. I'm from New Zealand, and we thought we were immune from animal disease outbreaks. After all, we have one of the best biosecurity controls in the world. But we've been hit by M. bovis that we are still trying to eradicate from our cows at close to $1 billion taxpayers' cost. Here in Australia, both foot and mouth and swine flu have been detected at biosecurity control points. So how soon do you think before an outbreak hits Australia that cripples the industry? And what about our heavy reliance on superphosphate, the majority of which is used by the livestock industry? Not only has superphosphate polluted our waterways, it has also polluted our soils with toxic metals such as cadmium. And here's the thing. The more we intensify and scale this animal system, the worse all of these risks get. This system is the very definition of unsustainable. And the other significant commercial risk is the rapidly changing consumer perception. Increase in meat consumption is mainly driven by developing countries as their per capita income goes up. In developed Western nations, the only meat that is actually growing is chicken. People are moving away from other forms of meat and substituting with chicken and fish, mostly chicken. Why? Health. Many diseases of affluence are linked to animal protein consumption, such as bowel cancer, diabetes, and heart diseases. As people become more and more aware of this, they're either becoming fully plant-based or shifting to meat that is perceived to be healthier, such as chicken. But chicken intensification, unfortunately, has its own problems, as we all know, including the consumers. It is the largest cause of foodborne illness. Australia and New Zealand have the highest rates of Campylobacter infection in the world because of the intensified way we process our chickens. The risk is so high, chicken is now the most hazardous thing you can take into your kitchen. If a new food product had that sort of risk, it would never be allowed on the shelves. This is why Campylobacter and Salmonella sickness is at the top of the list in the latest Australian government's foodborne illness reduction strategy. Combined with regular antibiotic dosage given to these chickens in their feed and water, it's not a great combination. And as we've seen, all these problems just multiply with scale. Right, we reviewed the problems. Thanks for sticking with me. Now let's talk the solution. So given the trend towards chicken, what would consumers do if they had the option of an even healthier protein? That's what Sunfed offers. For consumers shifting away from animal meat to chicken, we offer chicken-free chicken. It is clean, nutrient-dense protein that cooks, feels, and tastes just like animal chicken. It is very minimal, mostly just water and premium yellow pea protein, and boasts a strong nutritional profile of double the protein of chicken, triple the iron of beef, and a source of B vitamins. It is minimal and non-allergenic with no gluten, no soy, no anti-nutrients, and combined with the benefits of plants, the product is hard to beat, being cholesterol-free, trans fat-free, and a source of dietary fiber. And obviously, it has the added bonus of not having the risks associated with animal meat and is free from antibiotics, hormones, and animal bugs such as Salmonella and Campylobacter. And super convenient, just like chicken, even more convenient. Just sub for chicken in your favorite recipe, and that's it. So in all these ways, it's a better chicken, and it will keep getting better as we continuously innovate, which you cannot do with an animal. But no matter how healthy and clean the protein is, it won't work if it doesn't offer the right meaty experience. As we know, meat alternatives have existed on the market for a very long time, but they never went mainstream, only appealed to vegetarians. Why? Because they tasted like tofu. They do not offer the meaty experience. So without that meaty experience, you do not create an option. You do not create a true choice for the mainstream consumer. Without the meaty experience, there actually cannot be a real solution. Sunfed is part of a new revolution of plant proteins that offer that meaty experience, and by doing so has created a true choice for that mainstream consumer. And given our strong traction, it's pretty clear that consumers are exercising that choice. Sunfed Chicken-Free Chicken launched through the 2 largest supermarket chains in New Zealand to runaway success. It sold out first day of launch and just kept selling out. Our launch video went viral, quickly ramping up 12 million views with no marketing budget. And it spread like wildfire through just word of mouth, which is the best compliment. Due to the huge demand, we ramped up production and recently launched in Australia nationwide with similar success. Our consumer engagement is off the charts. Sunfedites are super engaged, repeat customers. And you cannot fake this. This kind of engagement is built off the back of a good product that actually works for people. Don't take my word for it. Sunfed Chicken-Free Chicken, I think, is on the VIP menu here, as well as being offered at the Sunfed stand out there. So please do taste for yourself. Great. So health and meaty experience checked. But what about scalability? Does this new Sunfed system also have the fundamental scalability flaw present in animal systems, or can it actually scale big without damage? Even better, can it flip the old model on its head and be a positive system? This would be the best kind of system to scale out, as it will enrich its environment, not deplete. It will leave things better than it found it. And the great thing would be, the more it scales, the better it will get. In other words, a regenerative system. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, that's what we're building with Sunfed. A highly scalable, regenerative protein system that leaves the world better than we found it. How are we doing that? By using pulses such as yellow peas. Not only are they protein powerhouses, which means very efficient protein yield, they're also the most environmentally sustainable crops you can grow, which is why the United Nations declared 2016 the year of pulses. Pulses are amazing. They enrich soil fertility, leaving it better than they found it. They are nitrogen fixers, so don't require nitrogen fertilizers. They are phosphorus scavengers with the ability to unlock phosphorus fixed in the soil. They have minimal water footprint with the ability to be drought resistant, and they are hardy crops minimizing pesticide use. Imagine seeing fields of yellow peas and knowing that they are enriching the soil and not polluting the waterways or killing the bees. World peas. So you must be thinking, great, you can make a lot of meat to feed the whole world and enrich the environment while doing so, but is it a commercially viable model? Yes, very much so. Purely on unit economics, plants are fundamentally more cost efficient and cost effective. You don't have all the cost of raising an animal and managing animal risks, that's all gone. But to build a commercially viable model, we also have to have the value add from the raw material all the way to the end product. So let me show you how from the yellow peas to the meaty experience, there are key steps along the way which adds value and makes the model very commercially viable. So first is growing the pulses, such as the yellow peas, perfect for Australian climates, and they don't need as much water. They can also be grown organic, which adds immense value. Next step is the harvesting of the yellow peas and milling. The pods are harvested and stored dry. It's extremely efficient, with silage put back into the land. Next up is the nutrient separation. So proteins, starches, and fibers are separated, and anti-nutrients can also be removed at this step. This is another quite big value add step. Next step is the nutrient blending. So now you take the nutrients you want to build up your meat. Essentially, a lean piece of animal meat is 75% water, 20% protein, 5% fats, carbs, vitamins, and minerals. Given the strong metro trend of health and wellness, how cleanly and naturally you do the two steps of nutrient separation and nutrient blending will directly translate to your value add margin. And finally, it's the meat making. Great, you have some plant nutrients, but can you actually make a great meaty experience out of it? This is another big value add another big value add, and companies such as Sunfed, Beyond Meat, and Impossible Foods are leading the way on this front. All three of us are continuously iterating and improving our products, so the meaty experience will only just keep getting better and better and at a rapid pace. This is why it's a game changer. And don't take my word for it. The recent report by Barclays analyst says that the alternative meat market will reach $140 billion over the next decade, taking 10% of the $1.4 trillion global meat market. And that's just based purely on traction to date of the new generation of plant-based meat, and only in patties and ground beef formats. So the possibilities of taking even greater market share quicker is certainly there. And by the way, the meaty experience is just one of the animal protein experiences you can create. You can also do milk, and we've seen the boom in almond milk. You can do eggs, you can do cheese. Look at this will only keep expanding. And obviously, pea protein is non-allergenic. This had a lot of uses in snack products and snack bars. Meat and other proteins from plants is not only here to stay, but it is the future. Think for yourself. If it's a highly scalable, commercially viable model that makes healthy food and also enriches the environment, why wouldn't anyone want to do it? With Sunfed, just like we're empowering consumers with new choices, we also want to bring greater freedom for farmers by empowering them with more choices for their land. When there's more yield from less land, this will enable farmers to build a portfolio of different income streams instead of having such massive dependencies on just animal protein. That's the future we are working to build. We have started with pulses such as yellow peas, but we want to enable a future where the system evolves to also using trees. There are high-protein trees such as the moringa, native to India, which are very hardy, extremely fast-growing, and drought-resistant. It is actually known as the miracle tree because it's so easy to grow and is just packed full of nutrients. It is a complete protein, including all 9 essential amino acids. It's high in calcium, antioxidants, iron, vitamin A, vitamin C, and a whole host of other nutrients, and has the anti-inflammatory properties of turmeric. And it's nitrogen fixing, just like pulses. It's a super tree that originated at the Himalayan foothills. And it's multi-purpose. What this means is that from one tree species, farmers can have demand from several different industries, which further reduces dependence and risk. And there are other trees like that. According to the Bill Gates Foundation, from the 400,000 plant species that we know of today, only 8% of that has been explored for protein alternatives. So the new possibilities here are massive. We just have to look into it. Trees are the lungs of the earth. They clean our air, make our oxygen, improve soil quality, retain water, and sequester carbon, among many other wonderful things. Creating a protein model where it becomes lucrative to grow trees would be a fantastic future for everyone, including us, the planet, and all life on it. And as technology continues to evolve, trees can be easily grown on non-arable land with leaves and pods harvested with drones. So there's your money tree that I promised. That's the Sunfed future we're building for the next generation and younger generations, and for people like Luke and your children. Thank you.